distinction I want to make here is don't just say yes, I'll figure it out, and then kind of never follow through. All right, what's up? Hello and welcome, Vibe Union, everybody that's out in the world. My name is Emkew. I'm going to be your host for today. We are back with episode number 22. That's my lucky number of the podcast. So before we get started, I do want to acknowledge that we are meeting, playing, loving, and recording right now on Wurundjeri land of the Kulin, of the Wurundjeri people of the Kulin Nation. The sovereignty was never ceded over this land, and there is irreparable damage that's been done, and it continues to be done, unfortunately, on these communities to this day. Instead of trying to repair it, let's try and build a better world together for tomorrow, and we can do that by acknowledging traditional elders, past, present, and emerging, and acknowledge the fact that it is a rich and diverse culture that we should be ready to embrace and harmonize with. In the spirit of harmonizing and embracing, I'm joined today by, to my left here, we got Jason.
Hello.
And to my right here, we got Rhath, aka Rhath. We are going to be talking about some topics today, but mostly we're just going to be rounding up what's been going on in the world of Vibe Union. Before we do that, Jason, what's been going on in your world?
Basically Vibe Union stuff, really. You know, I missed out on performance last week at the festival. For what it's called already.
Come together
through sickness. But yeah, no, just sort of Vibe Union stuff. Got the poetry night planned at the end of the month with Ronnie's Blue Bar.
Further details coming soon.
Yeah. So I'll be emceeing that and getting all that sort of stuff done. Been trying to write more songs as well as poetry because, I kind of can't just do the same two all the time.
You were getting some looks from people when you performed at USU, especially like D-Rad and Toomey both were like, oh, this is some fucking bars, man. This is some hot shit.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough.
I knew you would take it like that.
Adequate feedback.
I guess if that's all they could say. But no, so that's the sort of, sort of just looking forward to the next event and that kind of stuff. Just take it pretty chill.
Cool.
Yeah.
What about you, Rye? What's going on in your world for the people at home?
Started studying actually, all in relation to Vibe Union. So that's been really, really cool. We're getting into the nitty gritty of the figures, figuring out how to run a business, and it's so dry. it's so boring. But very excited about that. Outside of that, producing actually. I want to start. I'm in this. Actually, this will be a good segue. I'll see what you're up to as well first though. But starting to get in the mood for I think I should start writing the next project. But I'll talk more about that.
Yeah, for
after
sure.
you. What are you up to, my dude?
What am I up to? I'm up to sort of this, that, and a bit of the other. What's really exciting for me right now is the rebirth and the revival of a night that I loved dearly in Melbourne called Hip Hop Karaoke. It used to be a wicked time, and get up there, perform your favorite Kendrick. Like I did maybe 2 Kendrick tracks, and Ab-Soul, and naturally like a handful of Kanye stuff, and it would be on every month. And then they stopped because, those guys went on to bigger and better things. And now I'm ready for this as my bigger and better thing. And I want to put on this night and give another platform for artists. So that's been, a lot of my mental energy and then physical as well. And then, just being around the trappings with Vibe Union people in very different contexts. And I think on reflecting on how many different types of things we're converging at, that's what made me kind of think maybe that's the topic for today. It's just a good way for everyone that's out here that's been connecting with us to kind of get a big wrap up of what do we actually do? What is Vibe Union working on right this minute as a collective? Where are we aiming? Where do we want to branch out into and where there's room for more people to be a part of it? So that's what's been on my mind. So, all right. So coming into that, I guess, Rye, do you want to tell us a bit about sort of continuing your creative process, because you just dropped an album. We just had a bangers, amazing launch, supported by Vibe Union Cats. I was honored to be on that as well. So you've just dropped this album and you're already thinking about the next project. How does that cycle work for you?
This is a mental game. This is a I feel myself with guilt every time I'm not working on a project, because I feel like I'm not furthering my career or something along those lines. I think it actually more just stems from like that's where I feel most comfortable is in that space of producing and writing and working in the studio, usually by myself in a quiet house and kind of just get to focus in. So when I'm not doing that, I feel like I'm stagnating instantly. So this is slightly based on guilt at the moment. Also a lot of excitement though on some new sounds that I've discovered in my production. And I feel like the next batch of beats it always should be better anyway after each project. So that's really exciting. But this actually got me thinking in relation to this topic that we decided on 5 minutes ago that I've always got this thought, and I've been doing it for a long time. I've been making music for a long time in various formats and releasing a lot of content to basically deaf ears. And that's not being self-detrimental towards my music, but rather I know that there's so many other parts that I didn't do that would have furthered my career so much faster. In my mind, they look like smaller tasks, but also because I'm emotionally more at home in the studio, and that's what I always kept going back to.
For the people, can you hit us with a couple of these tips if they could have shaved off time in your career? Let's get technical for a second.
Learn to be more like Emkew and network properly.
All right.
Actually talk to people. Mm-hmm. But yeah, performing and collaborating with other people. Mainly, it's really about the networking. It's really about the networking that is the hardest, and I think that's so common. But for most artists, it's the hardest part. I think for people who are used to just producing in their bedroom, and people are people want to hear your amazing work, but they're far more interested in you as a person. I think that's how you turn a casual listener into an actual fan. They stay not because necessarily until you're like to a Kendrick's level or something like that, and people are actually like studying your work. Then sure, but for the most part, I think people just like want to know the character behind the music, and that's hard to get across just from in your bedroom.
Yeah, absolutely. And, gems like this and sort of how to network, how to kind of get your production game or your performance game up. This is the kind of stuff we've been covering across all the podcasts. So if this is the first time you're tuning in on the podcast with us, thank you. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit the notification so you get all these kinds of tips and stuff. We're doing this weekly and giving out free game. And then, we got episodes. I'll probably try and do a thing up in this corner so you can like click onto like how to nail live performance. That's been a great video and we got some great feedback on that. So that was a cool one. But yeah, just letting you all know to make sure you stay connected with us, and that's how we kind of keep riding. So, Jason, thinking about, I guess, like your involvement with Vibe Union, you're saying, it's kind of consuming who you are as an artist, but it also sounds like it's developing who you are and how you're expressing. How's that come about for you?
Yeah, I think, what Rhath was saying, that the networking part is the hardest, and I've been trying to work on that now, which is something I'm not used to doing at all. Mm-hmm. So that's one part of, I guess, not performing, but the sort of behind the scenes kind of performance element of being performing on stage. But yeah, I think like from mixing poetry and now more the music element, I guess it's kind of an easy transition from the way I do poetry because it rhymes and has a flow already. But it's a lot harder. It was for me, a lot harder because you got to keep to. I think I've said this a couple of times on podcasts now, but sort of it was kind of an easy transition, but it's completely different because you're going, this is a completely different audience, and so at the moment my sets are mixed between poetry and hip hop, rap and stuff, which is still a little bit spoken wordy, which is I'm fine with, but it's sort of a completely different audience. But I think with the Vibe Union, it doesn't matter. Mm-hmm. Like, we've got a few people that come to Lyrebird and came to Baosu and stuff, and they were like, well, we don't like rap or hip hop really, but we like the vibe basically, When a couple of poets are there and they're like, they've been to some poetry stuff and I've connected with them and stuff like this. But it's sort of I think if I was out on my own and going, okay, well, I'm going to say Rapper's Delight, sneaky plug. And I was like, I'm going to do I found this 15-minute monologue or something, and it's got a little bit of music to it. It's not going to go down in sort of thing, or the dojo or something like that. I'm like, can you everyone stop the music? I want to do a freestyle.
Indulge me.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it's given me the ability to. For me, I'm a perfectionist when I'm on stage. One missed word, I'm like, well, that's the poem, the song's ruined. But then, but I was saying like a couple of weeks ago, I messed up a second line of a poem that I've done many times, and I was like, screw it, I'll just keep going. And then I was like, okay, the rest of wasn't quite happy with it. But then Vibe Union did a set afterwards, and I was like, I was just getting into it a lot more than I normally do, and I was just like, fuck it, like my set wasn't the best, but I still nailed it quite well. So I think, it's the supportive element now that I have, I can do stuff at Lyrebird and practice things, and then I can do my own poetry stuff on the side, and then exploit Vibe Union and practice poems, and then go off and do them in competitions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I think it's just sort of that, comes full circle, you know, sort of thing. So, yeah.
For sure. I think what you touched on there is really powerful as well, in that, woven into our DNA as a collective is this idea of like all vibes welcome, right? Like Vibe Union is literally like bring whatever you can bring the best of that. And then how do we generate space collectively for that to exist? And so for you to say, just because night X doesn't have this room for it, doesn't mean that there's no room for that 15-minute monologue. And by all means, like as anyone that's involved, like in what we're doing, wants to like put on a night where that's available, well, there's someone who's got the inception of that night. There's someone who has a connection to a venue. There's someone who has a connection to a venue manager, to a PA system. And before you know it, you have all of the workings of a whole night set aside for that, or a single crate or soapbox on Sydney Road to put that together. And again, that like the strength in variety and that, again, collectivization, apologies to all you bloody capitalists out there, but in being able to bring all of this together and share in a massive pool of resources and assets and personal connections and relationships, I think is a superpower that we wielding and growing. Like what's that game, Katamari Damacy? Do you
Oh yeah,
you know what I'm talking about? It's like you start out as like a tiny little ball, and you kind of
got to roll, and
you just keep picking up things along the way,
and then you can pick up the solar systems and everything. Like
was that on the PSP? Was that like it was?
I think it's on a few platforms.
I think it's a Sony
Katamari
thing for
Damacy
sure.
or something.
Yeah. So so it feels a little bit like that. So join the roll with us.
I want to bring it back to, so now we've talked more about our own personal development at the moment through Vibe Union, but the initial point of like what is Vibe Union actually doing, which I think really ties into all this, because obviously starting during lockdown. So let's not speak. I don't want to speak internally. I want to speak externally. Like what does it look like to people? Right. So we were putting out tracks every week, and I think we started the podcast probably halfway through season 2, maybe.
Yeah.
Something
there
like
was about 10 pod, no, about 8 or 9 podcasts before.
Yeah, before we could do it in person.
Yeah.
So to the outside audience, it looks like that's kind of what we're doing. We're just producing tracks, and that was, but now speaking internally, that for me, that built the group up. That kind of built the network side of things, which kind of galvanized what we stood for as a group. But in terms of actually furthering, getting our foot in the door and putting our stake down in the Melbourne scene, kind of did fuck all.
Sure.
In a sense, right?
Yeah.
Until it means something now, but at that point, it was good for lockdown. I think we got lots of attention in that sense. People being like, "Oh, cool! It's just good to see artists doing something."
Yeah.
But where now I'm hearing. I'm actually hearing talk on the streets. I'm actually hearing, people actually come up to us and talk to us about what we're doing.
Yep.
It's because they see us doing these gigs now.
Yeah.
And having that foundation of tracks now actually really means so much more than it did initially. Now that we actually get to perform it on stage, which is, I think, perhaps an obvious point, but in this digital age, like gigs somehow in my brain wasn't the biggest thing.
Right.
I was always thinking about the next project and the next drop and what was that going to be. But it's actually these gigs that are furthering. That's where I'm gaining any fans myself. Is where Vibe Union is gaining the most fans.
Yeah.
It's where finding collaborators. We're not getting that many DMs and being like, oh, I actually want to collaborate, and that actually follow through.
Yeah.
But we meet people in person at these gigs.
Getting DCs, direct conversations.
Direct conversation. Yeah. I mean, it's purely relationship based, especially in this industry.
Yeah. Well, okay, let's dissect that. That's a great way to phrase exactly how we got into gigging as Vibe Union, because it was not on our horizon. Like, I guess in between season 1 and 2 of the singles, when there was kind of a window where lockdown wasn't a thing, we were like, let's get out there, let's be the first ones gigging. So we approached venues. We actually started doing the cold calls and everything.
Yeah, I remember the conversations we were having about like, well, when
we were like, we're trying to do this. Let's make it happen as soon as possible. Shout out, by the way, to like a few great venues. Like I think Usu was like entertaining at that conversation. Yorkshire Hotel was like supportive in spirit, and we couldn't make that work. Workers Club had like given us an opportunity first off the bat. And so then that obviously died right back down with lockdown 2.0. And then we didn't really think about it. And then I like got around to like freestyling with the homies, like Electro Dub Experiment at Lyrebird Lounge. Just off chance, they hit me 2 days.
That's how it happened.
They hit me up like 2 days before they were to go on and said like, "Are you free? Do you want to come through and freestyle?" And I was like, always, you know, it's a jam. And Electro Dub, Steady State Massive, Dread Pirate Sound System is their sort of collective, and there's a few sort of outfits within that, which is amazing. And so I like went on, freestyle, did my thing, had a good time, and like got the crowd all into it, and then left. And I was like, cool, that was a good moment in time. And Mick, the percussionist, he and I have a good relationship. He hits me up and goes, "Hey, listen, like Jimmy from the Lyrebird Lounge really liked what you're about, and he wants to know if he can get in touch to like get you to come and do a set." And I had already begun shifting my mindset that like I don't want to do things just for Emkew. Like I want to be getting stuff further out there. And okay, so hang on, a little bit of anti-chronologicalism there.
Sure.
So that Lyrebird thing transpired in that way. So Jimmy was like, "Hey man, like, you know, I want you to come and do a set. Do you want to like help fill out a night?" And I was like, "I can not just give you a set, I can give you a whole collective, I can give you a lineup. Let's put us on." So, you know, Dilly, Amutha, yourself, and myself put on a night. We did tracks together at the end as well, and that kind of went down a treat. And just before that, what had happened was Sikander and Electro Dub, two bands that I play with, were both booked for Renaissance Festival, a festival I played with Sikander previously. And when Sikander had got the confirmation, I just went, cool, that's a festival. That would be so cool if I could get Vibe Union around that. Like some of you guys haven't done like the camping festival vibe. Like it's too hippy dippy or whatever. And
is that directed at anyone in particular?
Nope. Not
on cameras. Not on cameras. No.
Never again.
Never again. You got that one hug from Mother Earth and you were done. And so I reached out to the organizer of Renaissance, and that's the thing of sort of relationships and appreciating that, because I'd previously reached out to him and said, "Thank you so much for having me as part of Sikander to like play at the festival. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Happy to come back anytime." Then I was able to make the approach to him and say, "Look, here's a couple of tracks of ours. We'd love to come and perform at your festival as a collective. What do you say?" And he was like, "You know what? Actually, yeah, I can give you guys a 40, 50-minute set. It'll be at sunset. It's on, you know, the main stage and all that kind of thing." We're like, this is crazy. So I like told the crew and everyone got around it. There's a bit of pay in it for us as well. Like Janos, Renaissance, like, thank you so much. And that was it. That was the start of like, oh, cool, we're going to do gigs now. And then we were like, how do we rehearse? How do we like warm up for it? How do we get ready? Well, cool. Let's keep an ear out. So then Lyrebird happened. And so we booked that for the 27th of December, Renaissance on the 1st of January. And that was those two things. And straight after Lyrebird happened, I reached back out to Jimmy and said, "Hey mate, like, how do you feel about having us on for 2 nights? We'll do more lineups." He was like, "Yep, cool." After the first of those 2 nights, I asked him for 2 more nights in February. He was like, "Yep, cool." And then by the second night in January, we're booked for March and like now into April. So the relationship building, maintaining, and leveraging, I think, are really critical. And I'm really lucky. I'm really blessed in that I've seen, for example, my mum like do that incredibly well in her world. And she is someone who builds networks, uses those networks to then further means for other people. She does a lot of charitable work. And so I use that kind of mentality and thinking and that ability to value each person for what you are able to exchange with them, that relationship. That's been really powerful for me. I've been talking a lot about this, but that's basically where the whole gig stuff started. And, you know, you're talking about that momentum and feeling that vibe of it. So that's, I guess, like the business and the network side of the gigs and that aspect. And you kind of touched on this before, but what's it been like for you to become a lineup artist, someone who is getting to do sets?
Before I answer that, I was just going to say to piggyback on what you were saying is it's nice now that if someone's like messages Vibe Union, like, oh, we want Vibe Union to do a set, you can literally just give them a portfolio and like pick 5.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want? We can just pick what you want. Do you want the craziness of Dilly Dave, or do you want like the atmospherical Amutha, or do you want the Connor the songwriter, or do you want?
I'm imagining like a Street Fighter type selection screen.
Select your fighter.
Yeah, exactly. Build your team.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where it kind of ties into. So yeah, as a performer, it's like. What was the question? What was the question again?
No.
I was like, I'm going to seamlessly do this, and I'm like, no, let's just clarify.
So that's a really good point as well, and we'll circle back to that in a sec about like what we're able to offer,
Yeah.
and I think that's a really exciting launch pad into the next step of, you know, what we're able to offer, and then what we're planning to offer the community at large already. So I just wanted to kind of come back to, for you to have gone. I guess you've kind of discussed this a fair bit, but what was it like the first time you came to a Vibe Union gig and you weren't on a lineup? What was it like being in the audience of that, and what's that experience for anyone who hasn't had a chance to experience it yet?
No, it's a bit, not, I wouldn't say surreal, but it is different because you go, because you know all the tracks that we put out were you know basically rap, hip hop and stuff with, you know, some more of a song, more of a, what's the word? Singer-songwriter elements in it with choruses and stuff. But yeah, going there and just seeing, it's just sitting there and not. I mean, for me, it was like not having the pressure of, oh, I have to perform soon or whatever. It was just nice, and then just everyone. I mean, Lightbird's good because it's a bit of a smaller venue, so everyone there is sort of there to see, and then unless they're out the back. But most people are there to see Vibe Union or whoever's performing. And it's just a nice chill vibe, and it doesn't seem to matter who's on stage. And it doesn't, you know, you can have 5 different people or 4 different people doing 4 different things, and everyone just seems to be there and in the moment, you know, enjoying all elements of it, and it doesn't matter. Yeah. And I think that's the important part of it. And it goes, and that's sort of this is what we can offer, and this is like it rolls into everything else we were saying. Like it's a collective. It's the vibe is just. Yeah, it is what it is, and it's sort of. I don't think it's something. It's kind of for me hard to explain. Just it is what it is. It's people come, they go. Most people seem to be like, hang on, I was talking to someone who knows Vibe Union and says, you know, they know Rye or man, they do rap and hip hop. Why is what like who like a Mutha or me or Connor's on stage? And it's like, hang on, and then Trix comes in, then they're like, oh, okay, all right, so it still is, but it's. Okay, cool. You know, it's surprising. It gives someone, it's sort of like a pleasant surprise sort of thing, I think. Yeah.
I think this ties into the networking idea because, like, I've had, I'm trying to get myself much more into the mindset of like being and I think I am quite good at this. This is kind of a big backbone of Vibe Union is that when someone asks if you can do a thing, you just say, yep. Sure.
Yep. Yeah.
And then once they turn their back, you go, well, yeah, okay, how do I figure this out? How do I do that? But fuck it. When they're looking at you, you say, yeah, of course, be that yes man. I was really taught that by an old boss of mine who loved to just work to always be by the seat of his pants in business. Always just walks into a boardroom and says like, yep, I'll do the thing, and then leaves the boardroom and goes, fuck, I have no idea how I'm going to do that. Yep. He was putting tablets in hotel rooms and to order room service off, and it blew up to be multi-million-dollar international company. It was ridiculous. But he was the kind of guy who was like, I forgot to book the people to actually install them. Fuck it, I'll do it. I'll figure it out. I'll go in there, and he did it himself, like that kind of thing. But then the idea there, especially in something like music, what we're doing is that who do you turn to first when you think I need a job done, or I need a feature verse on this track?
It's a good point, actually. Yeah.
And you go through the list. You go on Instagram. You type in hashtag Melbourne hip hop, and you start going through, right? And you find some people that you're like, holy shit, these guys are crazy. But then you message them. They're a bit vague. They get back to you like a week later, and there's just no real professionalism or relationship there. Do you go to that guy, or do you go to your mate who you've worked with either previously or who is just always like, yep, I'll be there. Yep, I'll do that. Yep, always ready to go. That is so much more valuable than just being the best at what you do. Is just being just professional and fast and present with it. And I think that actually shows with Vibe Union. If Vibe Union was a person, that is that person as well. Yeah, because people don't really. They could go to a night. Internally, I keep ragging on. So no, I won't actually mention. I won't mention particular places. But there's certain nights, there's certain venues in Melbourne that are more strictly hip hop, especially more particular branded hip hop. So there's places where you can go and you're going to get modern trap music, which is the hottest flavor. That's where you would imagine the people want to go. But you go to a place like Libo with Vibe Union, and you don't really know. I don't think people are going to Vibe Union knowing everyone who's on the lineup. They don't really care. I don't think it's really important who's on the lineup. They are just going there because they know the guy. They know Vibe Union as a person. They just I always have a good time. This guy's always got, throwing drinks around, and this guy's always got a couple of, he's got a bit of weed in his pocket to move around, that kind of stuff. This is the person that I want to hang out with more importantly than seeing the best artists. I think we offer that, but that's actually not our focus in the slightest. Yeah.
Well, it's just off that last point, there's no sort of objective metric for the best artists, right? Short of like, this person normally sells tickets for $180 and right now you can come and see them for 20. That's like, if that's that measurable, maybe that's like a thing you might want to consider. But honestly, like it is about what is the atmosphere being set up, and that's been really powerful. All right, real quickly, we've hit about the halfway mark. So I want everyone, whatever you're doing while you're watching this, just give yourself a quick high five. Do one of these. How good. We made it. And then like comment below if whoever just self high-fived in the weirdest place gets a free sticker next time you see me. So let me know. I'll mail it out to you.
Like location-wise or on their body? They high-fived on their body.
You know what?
Where's the weirdest place they high-fived on their body?
Stickers. It's two stickers now. Weirdest place on your body and weirdest place in the world. And if you like... I'm not even going to give you the idea. Go do your thing.
Ambiguous.
All right. Well, welcome back. All right. So thinking about like what we set up and what our ambitions are. So in terms of that network and establishing. Oh my God, these guys are in stitches.
We're back into serious stuff.
Yeah. Back into the real stuff. Back into the real stuff, Morty. What we need to consider already is I've killed myself here. With the gigs that we're putting on and why are we putting them on, why are we collating the people that we're collating and with the intentions that we're doing it is just about expanding the platform, right? It's about saying like, yeah, we're so grateful for the opportunities we've been given. How good is it that we get to play at Lyrebird regularly and put on the lineups that we put on? But recognizing that if that were there to serve 8 of us and we kept rotating through a lineup, awesome. We would just do that. But we want to do more than that. And we want to do lineups that are very specific. So for example, you're watching this coming Friday, we're having a sort of folk and acoustic specific lineup to serve the fact that we have members who, that's the sound. That's what they do, that's what they play. And that's within our network as a collective. It is actually an injustice to, for example, have Kelsey play to open up for like then 3 hip hop acts. Because it then totally disrupts the balance of the night. And it can be fun in like an open mic sort of context or when we are doing variations. But like as we want to refine and create better spaces and platforms for Kelsey, for Nick, to get the acts out there and then more acts like them to feel like, oh, there is space for me here. That's such a critical component in terms of why we're doing what we're doing. The other component I wanted to add as well is like, obviously we're going to sit here and harp on about the things that have worked incredibly well, and vice versa. There are going to be things that don't work out, right? Like for every night that we're trying to put together now, we're sending out proposals basically every other week to different venues for all kinds of different things, and some of them are taking off. Again, super excited to be running Rapper's Delight at Ronnie's Blue Bar, and all that kind of stuff. But and we'll come to some more in a sec. But there are also going to be the ones that knock you back or that you just never hear from. And that's totally fine. There's going to be ones that say yes, but with these conditions. And then you got to decide for yourself, what are those conditions? I just want to come back to the point you were saying before about the ability to say yes. Say yes and figure it out. That is such a strong piece of advice. And it's something I definitely live by as well. And for me, the sort of biggest thing about that is, once again, potentially, if you're watching this or listening to this, you are like a solo artist, or you're in the fold. Thank you for supporting and drumming up the numbers anyway. But if you're watching this, you're probably kind of still trying to make it on your own, and recognize that for you to say yes to everything and try and do it all, you're going to be working 25-hour days.
Yeah,
that is going to burn you right out. And so then having a network is so powerful. Where, let's say you're a rapper, and someone comes to you and says hey bro, I'm a rapper, I need beats. Don't just go, oh, okay, well, I'm only a rapper, see you later. Don't be the dead end. Go, okay, cool, I'm a rapper, but here's my producer, mate.
Yeah.
He can make some beats for you. I'll link the two of you up. And now you've got the endearment of this first rapper, and your producer friend is more endeared to you because you just got them some collab work, and you're actually building your network out there. So say yes, figure it out. No one... Kind of like with releasing bad music, no one's going to remember that you said yes and kind of failed to deliver. They'll just move on to the next. But if you succeed, they'll be super stoked on you. But if you say no, they completely forget about you and erase you. Yeah. And you don't want that. That's entirely antithetical.
This actually, this is perfect, because I was going to take this in a direction like that. The idea of releasing bad music. I think Jason, you were saying that you are a perfectionist when it comes to your live performances, which I have definitely seen in terms of your response to walking off stage, because you're like, man, that was shit, and everyone else is like, that was amazing. That also said, you've been on stage rapping for 3-4 times.
I think I've done it twice, 3 times.
3 times. Yeah. the leaps and bounds you've made in those 3 is crazy to me. But what I really appreciate, though, is that you say that you're a perfectionist, but you also, every time there's a gig opportunity for you, you're like, yeah, sweet, I'll do it. Yeah. And then I know that I'm sure you go home and think, fuck, I got to start getting this ready. I was just thinking
the story you both were I'll do it. And then I went, I'll figure it out later.
Yeah. There's so many artists out there who are perfectionists at the wrong stage in their career, I think. And, I say this in a sense because I definitely kind of went the other way with it. I've produced a lot of work, and I hate a lot of it. I don't hate it. I really like a lot of the ideas, but the execution could have been so much better. However, I don't have a huge following, so I can't really say if this method has worked for me anyway. But, every journey takes different amount of time, so that's fine. But there's a comedian on YouTube called Gus Johnson, who I really, really admire, and he kind of gave similar advice about starting a YouTube channel, doing skits. When he does a skit, often instead of having doing a skit of a parody of a show. Say if he's parodying Ellen DeGeneres, instead of doing a costume, he'll just write on a piece of paper Ellen and sticky tape it to his chest. If the skit is solid enough, then people don't care. Yeah. They just like seeing that he did the thing. It also means that you can keep doing a lot more things, and at this stage, that's perfect. Because when you get a budget, then fuck yeah, go all out and take it to the next level. Yeah. Auntie Donna's another good example that they just got the Netflix series and it just got elevated so high. But normally, they're happy. We've got a boardroom space that maybe we've got friends at the ABC or something like that, and we'll record on our phones and we'll do a skit, and it works fine. Works totally fine.
Yeah.
I think if it's done properly, it's sort of Well, I mean, like if you look at what Vibe Union does, I think we've touched on it on other podcasts, but it's like going back to what you're saying about like it's unfair if Kelsey goes on first and then does an acoustic folk stuff, and then you've got Toomey, Dilly, and then Trick sort of thing. Just sort of, but then we're very careful about trying to make sure the night is it's sort of a something I kind of really like about Vibe Union. It's like we want to make sure that the night is perfect for the people there, and so we will do the background things like we'll make even if no one notices. I said before, like me go on first if I'm just doing my poetry stuff, and then I'll end with 2 songs, and then other people come in. So it goes from sort of the slower pace and then comes in at the end. It's sort of it's sort of the performance stuff is those little things. I think that and then other performers, I haven't been to many hip hop nights, but the ones I've seen a couple of performers that weren't putting in much effort at all. There's sort of there's a big crowd here and they're going to go off regardless of what I do. And it was sort of I felt good to the fact that Vibe Union doesn't do that, but I also was like, if that's all the effort that it kind of, but I guess you kind of got to get a big enough name to be able to do that. But then I'm like, kind of ashamed that people still do that. So
you've illustrated this point perfectly, because like what we're doing is actually really easy. Like the amount of energy that goes into this podcast is so fucking low. We figured out what we're going to talk about 5 minutes beforehand. We're recording on my phone.
Arguably, we're still figuring it out.
Yeah, exactly. This was not the original topic in there. We're recording on my phone. We're going into an old interface of mine, recording straight into Ableton. I have a template set up, so it takes me maybe 10 minutes to edit this thing. I never like chop anything out, and I just put it out because I know that like getting in there and editing little parts out and condensing it down at this stage, I just don't think it matters. At our height, we were getting like 600 views. Now it's dropped down a little bit. We're hovering around the 100 mark, I think.
That said, prove us wrong.
Yeah, of course.
if for example, like big like special effects and that kind of stuff is like what would make you share this podcast out with more people, like let us know. But I would guess that you're happy watching this and sharing it to the extent that you would share it regardless.
Yeah.
And I think that accepting that and recognizing that like 70% and 99% and 100% more or less have the same outcome for quite a while, I think is like, I think we've had this conversation before, like early days with track production and stuff as well.
Yeah.
When we were making songs and we were like trying to avoid that perfectionist mentality, saying 70% actually gets the job done.
Yes, 100%.
And So in terms of that, like, please prove us wrong. Like if you're like, hey, hang on, if you guys did this, that would make it more shareable, or that would like help with the algorithms. Like we're figuring all of this stuff out as we go. So by all means, like chip in with that input, because at the end of the day, we're still making this to like serve you. Like we're making this and discussing these ideas. It helps us obviously, but we're sitting around having these conversations anyway. Like putting the camera here is actually about then engaging with you, like growing this community, and then hopefully like anyone that's watching this that wants to be here and amongst this, like let us know.
Yeah.
Because we want to diversify all of that as well. What do you think on that, Jason?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool.
I think it's good. I mean, I think Vibe Union is one of the we take I guess criticism, or we take critiques, and we're humble about it. It's like, well, we do what we do. If you don't like what we do, that's fine.
Yep. I think because we give it that 70% as well. Like at this stage, we know that the 70% achieves everything that we need right now.
Yep.
And so when someone's like, say, hey, that was a bit shit, it's like, well, cool.
It's because
we're not going to be precious about it, because we didn't give it like we didn't give 100% in the sense of like we were really nitpicking like on every track or anything like that. It wasn't going in and tuning all the kicks and everything like that for a day.
Well, I said like the way we were doing it was because I don't have a sound set up. It was a DSLR camera with a $60 mic, and I was sitting on my bed with a blanket over my head to try to get as much sound as I can. So there's a bit more. My sound sounded a little bit different, a little bit more editing in the songs that I was on.
Yeah.
But that was the 100% of the 50% I could give. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like it was.
Imagine if
yeah.
we had said when we were doing that, okay, we've got mics, Dilly's got a mic, and Ruth has got a
You
setup.
can't be on a song.
Yeah,
you
Jason,
can't be
we
on a song.
actually
Well,
need you to. We've got this quality level, and we
Yeah.
need you to meet that.
Yeah.
And if you can't during lockdown, then
Yeah.
well, you have to wait.
Yeah.
If you were turned down that one time and said you have to wait till the end of lockdowns, what are the chances are that you would actually be as
True.
involved as you are at this point?
probably slim to none.
Exactly.
Right? Yeah, that's a
It's
good point.
amazing.
Actually,
It's
yeah.
amazing what those little things can do. That having a slightly rougher recording
Yep.
could be to some people would be like, oh, I don't want to put that out. It's not ready to go out to the world. But instead of having that mentality, we put it out and we gained one of our biggest collaborators.
Yeah.
That's fucking
And
crazy.
easily one of our most awesome tracks, in my personal opinion, like with Dreaming especially.
Yes.
That graininess of the recording actually adds to how that song builds and works. We would never have had that if we'd been precious about it.
True.
And this comes back to, once again, saying yes to, hey, I can only record on a real shonky type of mic, and like, can you help me like get that best type of recording, blah, blah, blah. Saying like, yeah, all right, and then let's figure it out after the fact, once it's already done, how we make it work. You know, if we'd simply said no at the outset, then it doesn't get done. And just because we're back on that yes thing, which, I mean, I contrived, but just because we're back on that say yes and figure it out, that's, I think the like distinction I want to make here is, don't just say yes, I'll figure it out, and then kind of never follow through.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
the mark of like hustle, the mark of ambition, and the mark of like, I would say success is when you can say yes and mark it with an action as soon as possible. So whether it is, yeah, I can find you a producer, and then immediately for me to then go onto Discord and say, hey, everyone, this person needs a producer. Hey, everyone, this person needs a social media coordinator. Like, cut down the time between the making of the promise and starting the action. Because if you can do that, if you can take a yes and turn it into something tangible straight away, one, that person goes, cool, I've got someone good in my corner. And two, when that comes through, it's coming through sooner. You're just getting the ball rolling even quicker. So same with like venues. You know, I was actually blown away, like coming back to Rapper's Delight, and I guess we'll do a bit of a roundup of like what we're excited for coming up.
Yeah.
But Rapper's Delight was basically, I had this idea. I walked in the first time that the dojo ran at Ronnie's Blue Bar, saw maybe the first 5 minutes and went, this is perfect. This is like the perfect venue. This is the vibe. This is the location. I went straight up to Ronnie. I was like, Ronnie, like, I know we've been connected before. Like, what's up? I hope you're good. I got an idea for a night. And he was like, yep, cool. I don't talk business during business. Like, come back and let's talk about it at another time. He immediately gave me a yes, gave me a reschedule. And then I came in with the reschedule with a whole proposal. He liked that. One more meeting later. And it's like, yes, see you at the end of the month. You know? And so that ability to go from yes to yes to yes to like it's happening has been powerful. And the momentum that it then has is amazing. It feels really cool. It feels really exciting. So if you're watching this Thursday night, Rapper's Delight, that's the shit. Hit the link in the bio or down the below or whatever. But that's the jam for me.
You also another thing what you did there is to put on a thing like Rapper's Delight, to put on any gig is a lot of energy, but it's a lot of energy spread out across a lot of really, really small, very easy to do tasks.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge one. Is like we're going to be working on a project later today. No details about it. It's something different, but that the speed of which you got someone else involved that they needed, being me in this case, was so fast because literally it's just a phone call. That's all it is.
Yeah, exactly.
It's so easy to just pick up the phone, go to your contacts and go, this guy might pick up, call, done, he's on. And then you send my number to the guy.
Yep.
That's your task. Like you've done everything. It took like 3 minutes of your time to figure that out.
That's it. And in those moments, don't give yourself the chance to second guess. Just actually don't. Because especially if it's about connecting someone to someone else, that someone else is the person making the call about if it's suitable or not.
Yeah.
You know, like the same thing has happened with me with referring friends for jobs. Someone's like, hey, I need a new staff member at my, at my cafe or something like that. Okay, amazing. I'm going to send you like 5 people's numbers. You call them and figure it out. So right now, if you're watching this and you've been like second guessing and postponing and delaying something because you're like, I don't know if I should call this person or not, email this person about a job opportunity, about a proposal, about a collab, whatever, go do it. Seriously, go do it right now. You don't why are you waiting? If like you probably don't have a reason, you've been delaying it. It's on a list, and it's every day. It's on that list. I know I make lists daily, and some of the stuff carries over. Just stop waiting. Just go do the thing. Go from your promise into the action. Like, let's make it happen.
If you need a job at a cafe, put a comment down below.
Yeah, what's up? Like, I'll hook you up. I'll hook you up. Emkew Recruitment Agency. It's a new venture of Vibe Union. All right, shall we talk about like what we got coming up, what we're excited by within Vibe Union, and what we're liking as part of the ecosystem already? So, Jason, you want to kick us off?
Yeah. So I'll remember the question. But yeah, it goes with what I'm going to say. So shut up, Rhath. I know what I mean. We're talking about, so what I'm excited for is, everything, Rapper's Delight. I think it might take me a little while to actually get up on stage. Because the only rap song I ever learned was Grills by Nelly when I was 16. I don't know why. Because I was bored. Anyway, so yeah, what the one thing I'm excited for obviously is not too many details to give away, but end of the month, hopefully, starting up a poetry night, open mic sort of concept. But then that night come about. So what we're talking about was Ronnie wanted to I want to put on a poetry night. Can Vibe Union do that? And then all of a sudden, straight away, I was like, we've got someone that's come up through the poetry scene. It was just like bang, like that. I think that's a perfect example of just like, can you do this? And you're like, yeah, bang, I can. And then the same thing, went to talk to him. He's like, don't talk business that night. And then the next day he was text you, talk to you. He was like, all right, bring him tomorrow. Had a chat, and it was all good, So yeah, excited for that. When it does eventuate, further details to come later. A bit of an MC job for me, which will be different but fun. I think it's sort of a different element for me. I don't have to perform, but I'm on stage a lot, so it's gonna be fun. I think. And I just think, overall, more gigs we're doing, the more I'm excited for writing more, getting more songs done. I said I want to start hopefully recording some stuff as well. Just mine as well.
You've got people who can.
Yeah, I know. I just
that.
sort of got it. I always just keep forgetting. Just writing more. Even now, like poetry nights are starting to open up. There's a competition in a month that I think I've signed up for. I don't know. I've put my name in the hat, but I don't know. I don't know what. Anyway, that's so that's opening up again. So I now can focus on poetry and the music and stuff, which is annoying because I'd rather just focus on one, but I don't want to. At the same time, because I don't want to lose either or. I don't want to. I don't want to go fully into. I'm like, I'm a rapper now or whatever. And then completely forget about the origins of where I wrote, how I started writing, because I do enjoy poetry as well. But I'm like, if I can utilize both, then why not? So I think now things are opening up. Just in general, excited to perform, to write, to MC, and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, just be a part of things.
Rye, Horizon, right now, what's exciting you about Vibe Union?
It's the networking. It's 100% the networking. And being on stage a lot more is just so much fun. But I think the networking and being at places like Ronnie's Blue Bar for the dojo. I know the next big stage for me, besides like the behind the scenes stuff of like actually, always building Vibe Union up further so we can do bigger and better things, get bigger budgets. But the biggest thing for me personally is honestly just finding my confidence, because I know I've got a lot of confidence in a lot of parts of my personality, but in order to be on stage freestyling at the place like the dojo, like that's a level that I need to get to, and I did it last night. But the heart racing and like the wet hands coming off, and like I know that I can get. I know my mind is there. Lyrically, and the wall there for me freestyling is this confidence in the live performance aspect of just not being worried about things falling over and still just keeping on to it. And I think that actually comes from both being at places like the dojo, but also the networking, because it's always solidifying in your mind, this is what I'm doing. That's the biggest thing I think for me, is every time you meet someone who sees us as like, oh, these guys are doing something and I can now jump on board with this. every time that happens, I'm like, we are supposed to be doing this.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
Well, I see that kind of stuff with like open mics and whatever. It's just like people are, I don't know if I should. I don't know if I should. But I got a song, but it's still on my phone, and everyone else hasn't performed. I just go and do it. It's on your phone. Who cares? It's an open mic thing. If you've just written it, it's unfair. If you're like, oh well, you can only do it if you can't.
Right.
I hear people say, oh no, I shouldn't do it, and then I don't think I can. I'm like, just go and read it on a piece of paper. Like, I literally wrote. I read stuff out of a book before. Like, it is what it is. You just go, this is what I'm doing. If you don't like it, bugger off. Sort of thing. And he killed it. It was a couple of weeks ago. I forget what his name was. But he went up there and killed it. I'm like, yeah. And he was just like, oh, good, glad I did it. So yeah.
That's the way, awesome. Yeah, exactly. Like, I like that networking aspect is more appealing to you as well. It's one of the big things that's exciting me right now is how much, I guess, like inbound inquiry, like to put it into sort of business terms. And that's, at a bigger level. So, for example, a venue has hit us up and been like, look, we're trying to kind of manage our socials and stuff. And we noticed that you guys are constantly promoting and posting what you guys are doing. And I'm like, honestly, if we're there with story mode on Instagram, we catch it. Otherwise, it's not really going anywhere.
no
like
plan,
we don't have a content strategy or anything like that. But to this person, it does feel like it's robust and it's a pretty clear-cut sort of strategy. So they've gone, we need you guys or someone from you to like come and do that for us. And so then again, it's like, yes, let's figure it out on our end, and then we can come back to you with the idea of what's possible. So
can I just inject here as well? If there's anyone anyone watching or anyone who that is looking to get involved in the social media kind of space, who is either studying that kind of thing or wants to be involved in more of a collective, hit us up because we need someone to build those strategies.
Please and thanks. Look at our gram.
Yeah.
It is infrequent at best.
Yeah. That's a collaborative spot, not a paid spot. Sorry.
Exactly. But look, here's the thing. So what is super exciting to me right now is that we're moving from thinking about things as purely a network and a one-to-one reciprocated exchange of good like services and resources to now like, how do we pitch what we have as a collective as like a financial, like as a product, as a service that we can offer to venues, to promoters, to bookers, to festivals, right? And we can say to them, we can give you an act, we can give you your social media solutions or whatever. And that's money in that then goes pretty much directly to the people that are carrying out the work. Is like, we are generating work for the people involved in the collective, because all of last year we generated work and it was for free and for one another. For the purposes of building it up, so getting Amutha and yourself to design the logo and the branding, for you to do the production work, Dilly Dave to do video work and all that kind of stuff. That was all, free of charge and for one another. And now what's exciting is we're thinking about things monetarily. How do we make this a business that is designed to take money from big businesses and people who have money and who are in the business of spending money for their own ends? They spend it with us, and how do we give that out to the people that are involved? That's an exciting concept to me, because I think there is so much of an imbalance where people are being expected to do stuff for free. Not like, hey, we're a collective and like, what can you offer and what do you want to offer? And that's what builds us. That's what's exciting for me about what we do as a network. But as a business, how do we get these swathes of money that, City of Melbourne or such and such, like, some broadcaster or whatever has, how do we get them to pay us to pay the individuals involved and create sustainable, steady work for everyone that wants it? That's probably the sort of biggest thing. And within that is then we're reaching out, to major companies that do X, Y, Z to sponsor things like the podcast or some of the nights that we're running. And if they can give us money, that's money coming into the collective to get dished out for all the work that we do. So the goal is to keep building this platform, make it more robust, and the more tight and professional our operation looks and is, the more likely we are to fetch money. Like, that to me is something I've never had to think about previously. And I've always just been like, oh man, whatever, like money's money, like whatever. But that's a real privileged position. Like, my parents have set me up with a life that I am able to sustain a baseline level of living that I don't really have to think about survival. And I know that that's not the case for everyone. I know that people working in the arts can't make a living and a career out of it. So why not be able to supplement at least some of their existence, some of our existence, like off of that? So that's probably the sort of most exciting concept, is that network, inbound inquiries, and how we're trying to shape into a direction where the people involved are able to be like reimbursed and compensated for their time so that you're incentivized to make the best work that you can make.
Yeah. Then you give the 100%.
That's
then you start. Then you get nitpicky.
because the outcome is directly tied now to the level of work that you put in.
Yeah.
And if you know you're going to get paid $200 to sit there and design a graphic, then you make that graphic as good as possible because you want the next time that 200 turns into 300 or 1,000 or whatever. That's when you're doing your 100.
Yeah.
That's it. Yeah.
That's like such a important goal, a reevaluation of the goal for me. Is I think I've spoken about this before. That like my goal is I just want to be in a studio, a proper studio, with all the gear in the world, because that's my happy place. But once that's there and you are getting paid for it as well, then you can go into that level of detail. And saying that I don't. Saying that it's not I half-ass things, but rather like you've got a certain amount of time and energy every day. Where is that best spent? And at this level, you give it 70% on the track, and you take that extra percentage and you put that elsewhere. You put that into the marketing. You put that into honestly just going to other gigs and talking to people.
Yeah.
I can't wait though for that level of because that's the luxury, that's the privilege of getting it up to that point.
Yeah.
And I can't wait.
Nice. Jason, have you got anything else you want to add?
No, I think we've kind of all said it all.
Cool.
Really.
All right. Well, I'll do a quick roundup of like what I see on the horizon, and I'll not get too specific. But let's say, for example, partnering with a gym that are just about to launch and open up their doors to everyone. Basically, I want to work out with them how we can have a whole day-long launch party.
Yeah.
We can have DJs from Vibe Union. We can have a band that's affiliated with us. We can have artists playing throughout the day. But then we can also have like a cypher circle going on and have that throughout the day. And then people that just want to come and vibe with Vibe Union come along to this gym, trying to negotiate that we get discount memberships for everyone that comes along to this day and things like that. Like that's, I feel like the kind of stuff that I want to be doing.
Yeah.
Another really exciting prospect is a couple of our members, and I don't want to name them. I don't want to name the exact night that they're trying to do because I want to save it for them. That's their news. But I love that the initiative is already in gear. A couple of members are like, hey, all of our stuff is very hip hop centric. Let's dismantle that a little bit. Let's make a new type of thing. So, a different genre, different type of night. So there's one of those in the works, and that's considering like reaching out to very specific types of venues and partnerships. And then there's a whole other separate one, which maybe you want to talk about.
Oh yeah. I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? Oh yeah. No, there's a house. I want to do a house music night. Basically, just because I started when I first got to Melbourne, I was making house music and I wanted to be a house DJ. I quickly learned that I did not really fit into the scene just as a person, as a character, because I was too timid. And also I found myself in the psytrance scene by accident, and then I kind of looked around and went, fuck, I don't want to be here. No disrespect to psytrance. Some disrespect to psytrance.
All disrespect to psytrance.
It's not my fucking...
Fuck you, psytrance.
Psytrance for me is...
I don't even know what it is.
I've said it before. No, yeah, a lot of people don't.
I just want beef with psytrances.
D-Rad, if you're watching this, you called my music on stage psytrance, and oh man, I was ready. I was ready to come at you like a flying buzzard.
I want to see that, please.
Yeah.
Say it again.
But I want to create. This is I guess to tie into what we're talking about actually. Basically, I wanted to do that back in the day. I knew the sound I wanted to hear because I was, I was looking at the history of house music, and I was looking at like Chicago house music and Detroit techno and that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to be there. I just wanted to be working with those guys in the 80s and 90s at the warehouse and shit like that. But that was in the 80s and 90s, and I was born in the 90s as a little baby. And when I got to Melbourne, I found psytrance. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I'll not do that.
Yeah.
And now that I have this platform with Vibe Union and this little network, apologies, is now I actually get to do that thing, and it actually. It seems like it would be separate to Vibe Union, but it actually just plugs in so nicely because we all put in a lot of effort into these gigs, and we all just, most of us are performing on those nights. It would be cool to just have a night where I was like, let's just drink and listen to house music and just chill out for a night.
Sounds like
I get to put on that. That's going to be cool as hell.
You had
very early days. We go with
What else have we got coming up? We got 420 rally. It's going to be a picnic at Flagstaff Gardens. We've been chatting with one of the organizers. Big shouts out, Ancient J. I got to play there as a solo act a couple years back. And he was like, hey, whatever you're doing, I'm seeing what you guys are doing Vibe Union-wise. Love to have that energy as part of the festival. And so once again, like this recognition and validation that like, yeah, we're doing stuff and people are receiving it, people are feeling it. So again, like, thank you. Like, if you're watching, you're clicking things, you're sharing things around, that means that you're vibing with us. And you're actually a part of this collective in that sense. Like, that's so integral to our DNA is like, you enjoy what we do and want to proliferate that in the world with us because we enjoy the crap out of what we're doing. This is so much fun. Again, the reason we're making this is because we love what we're doing and we just want to share that. We want more people to join into it. And it's a constantly validating feeling to know that people are enjoying that and want other people to enjoy that as well. So thanks for sharing that with us. 420 rally. We got like awesome gigs coming up. So yeah, if you're checking this out, this Thursday, we got Rapper's Delight at Ronnie's Blue Bar. It's going to be awesome. Hip hop karaoke. So you basically sign up, do your track. Friday, we're at Lyrebird Lounge again, and this time's an acoustic and folk night. Amazing lineup. It's going to be good fun. We've got Kelsey Jean headlining. We've got Nick Rowan.
Yes.
Incredible musician.
Yes.
Beautiful on the guitar.
I think he's bringing the harp guitar.
Oh,
You've seen dual neck electric guitars in like hair metal back in the day. This is a dual neck acoustic guitar. It's weird.
Yeah.
Come see that.
It's
Weird.
powerful.
Just to see that. Nothing
It's
else.
cool.
An old mate of mine, Jon, from the band Plots, he's going to be playing as well, stopping in to kind of revive what he's been doing. And again, he's been watching. Thanks for watching along and seeing what we're about and going, I want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I'll also be a part of that next week.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Jason's opening up the night. Yeah, I forget.
Who's that?
Who's that? The one with the hat.
Yeah.
I felt left out.
Oh, Jason's kicking off the night for us. He's going to be hitting us up with what you've been doing.
Yeah, just poetry stuff.
It'll be more strictly poetry this time, is
Yeah,
it?
well, I think,
cool.
because we're going to, try to, I have the acoustic behind it to try to, bit of experimental stuff to see for future venues.
Cool. So Nick's going to play with you?
I don't know.
I'll tell him.
Well,
my
I put the thing out there and everyone said it was a good idea. I don't know what's going on after that. So.
Yeah, no, he'll do that.
Okay, cool. Okay, fair enough.
I'll message
Thank
him
you,
later.
Nick.
Also in like future retrospect, big shouts out to Tulit Crew and Triptych Creative, who by the time you're watching will have come down to Melbourne, lit it up on Friday night at Lyrebird Lounge with the hip hop rundown, and then just been like partying through the weekend. Like we got a massive weekend lined up. Again, that's super exciting to me that a network and a connection made 2 years ago in like the back courtyard of Barusu with these characters who'd come down. Triptych Creative, by the way, they're putting on incredible things for everyone in the scene. Thank you so much for doing what you're doing, getting emerging art out there. They're just like, hey, we want to send down a couple of artists. Can they hang out with you Vibe Union guys for a weekend? We're like, hell yeah, we put them on a lineup. Let's do it. So that's another exciting thing to have looked forward to, past tense on Monday.
Yeah.
And yeah, any closing thoughts?
No, man, I think we said
I
quite a
think
bit.
You know what? We've made it to the end.
I think we said
Give
everything,
yourself another self high five. All right. My name is Emkew. This is Jason. This is Rhath. We are Vibe Union. Thanks for tuning in to the Vibe Union podcast. Hit like, hit comment, subscribe, share it around, spread the love. Thank you so much. We'll catch you again next week. We out.